Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. Happy New Year. Dan, is this first one New Year? Happy New Year. See, it's going to be the same old shit on this podcast, if that's okay with everyone. We're not changing anything. We're not rebranding. We're not doing anything different. We have the same team. We're just keeping it all going. We do have a big live show. 23rd of September in the SSE Arena in Belfast. There may or may not be tickets left at this stage. My guests are Kieran Bartlett and Dave Elliott. It's going to be a good time. Tickets are in the description. Also, I need to plug, what else do I need to plug? Patreon? Patreon.com/Tea With Me podcast. We're still doing a bonus episode on a Monday, live stream on a Friday, and loads more in between. Before we get into this episode, we're sponsored by NordVPN. In 2022, I didn't know what a VPN was. In 2023, I'm going to learn. It's a virtual private network, a service that provides your internet connection and privacy online. So, you know what we're saying. You know what it is. It protects your online identity by hiding your IP address, allows you to use public Wi-Fi spots safely. These guys, it allows you, here's the bottom line for someone like me who doesn't understand it. Access content from everywhere. You can trick your phone or your laptop into pretending you're anywhere. So if you want to watch, if you want to catch up on Northern Irish TV when you're in Bali, you can do that. If you want to see what's happening with the weather, if you want to see Bar Best on trains, whatever it is you want to see, you can do that from anywhere in the world. One click, you open a map, you click on a location, and then you say that's basically where you are. If it's a platform isn't available in your country, you just change a virtual location. We have an exclusive NordVPN deal at nordvpn.com/tea with me, and you can also read more about VPN, sir. You get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan and 4 months for free, completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. And Dan, am I right in saying that's a guarantee that you'll get your money back within how long? 30 days. The link's in the description. Is right. I was going to say that. We're also sponsored by...
Is that all legal?
It's illegal.
It's legal, aye.
It's legal.
Right.
Yeah, Martin, come on, let's not... Don't look into that. No, it depends what you're looking at.
I just want to go back to Belfast. All the sponsors are all shifty as fuck.
But if you're just looking up local football, what would you be looking up when you're travelling?
Well, but you're allowed to circumvent things. And I thought there was like actual laws in the country. There's a reason why you can't watch it in that country.
Nope. Nope. We're also sponsored by Manscaped. Is that who? Manscaped. Look, we're moving into the new year. You need to think about self-improvement. All right? I don't know what's going on down there, but take control of it. All right? You probably let yourself go over Christmas. A little bit too much to eat. What's happening down there as well? Now, look, we're talking about the modern way to take care of your gentleman's bits, if that is an appropriate phrase for 2023. Maybe I'll get into a lot of shit for that. But your pubic region, if that's still legal to say. Look, there's outdated ways of getting rid of your pubic hair down there. People are still saying things, and then the paramilitaries come around and kick them out. Use things like this. The Lawnmower 4.0, much better than getting the boys round. This, and can I be honest? Even last year, this still has a little bit of hair on it, and that's so gross because it's been in the studio the whole time. And what that means is there's a pervert in our midst. They've got all different. These guys love balls. Manscaped are just thinking about your balls 24/7. They've got ball deodorant, groin shaving gel. They've got everything. Ball deodorant. They've got a wee lip balm. They've got everything. You've got you covered. Manscaped.com. Use the code Tea With Me for 20% off and free shipping. My guests today are two young men that I just picked up from the airport, and what I will say is a touch of class from me. That's a touch of class. You wouldn't get that maybe on other I don't think if you do Joe Rogan, I don't think Joe showing up at the airport getting a wee ticket for the wee short stay car park.
Shane, can we talk about the worrying noise from the boot of your car?
Yeah, so there's old stereotypes, I guess, of Belfast, and
will pick me up. I'm at the Tato's, but
yeah, that's also if Joe Rogan picks you up at the airport, he doesn't go, "There's a big Tato stand," and I'll be beside that. So I picked the guys up, and I had to what's that seat called? The like the child seat, and then it's like fixed in. Do you know the
Sounds
one?
like some kind of weird device you're
Medieval
talking
device.
about.
No, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a what? Isobar. How do you know?
Isobar.
You don't have kids.
Is that not what John Barnes drinks? Look, that's isotonic.
Okay, fair. Isofix, that's what it's called.
Isofix.
So when you move it, it does a beep to alert you that hey, this isn't right for the kid. So I put it on the boot to let the guys in. Again, touch of class from me. Do that. Didn't have to.
Yeah.
Could have made you climb over the bit, but I didn't. But that beeping keeps going in the boot. So halfway through us driving to the studio, I just had to let the guys aware that look, don't be alarmed. We're in Belfast. There's a little bit of a beeping from the boot, but I'm not been like put up to it by like crazed. Well, like, is there like opposite line of duty? Is there like a line of duty in competition with anyone else, and they'd want to get you?
Well, over here.
Yeah.
I
Like the
thought-
bill.
The fall.
The fall.
Gillian
Oh,
Anderson.
Yeah.
What happened about that on the plane, Martin?
I know the
was so
stewardess
funny.
was very kind.
this the way over?
She said I'm a massive fan, and says, but I've only started recently watching The Fall.
Totally irrelevant.
I've seen this.
I had my headphones in and I could hear him trying to move the conversation
I
on.
was quick 'cause I was
and I was
like,
like,
as long
excuse me, did you just say the fall?
But I think I'll take Dornan. Dornan's a top boy.
Do you? First question always for guests. Do you drink tea? I'll ask you, Martin, first because you haven't been on the podcast before. So
I do. I'm a big tea guy. I had one sip of coffee when I was wee. I've never drank it since. So go.
how bad was it?
I don't know. As well, I've never even. Cause as well, I'm quite an addictive personality. So I think
Is that what you
if I
call it?
started on it, started already. Is it?
Are you
so
addicted? You got an addiction to
It's
tea?
just I'll go through a few cups of tea, but I had my summer holidays down in Cork, and they were talking about Barry's. So my
Right.
first cup of Barry's, that was decent.
Now there's a bit of you've got the red box of Barry's and the green box.
Green. God.
10 out of 10.
I thought you knew
Yeah.
the answer to that
Yeah,
before you asked
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely.
got
No, I
to
was
do-
told. No, doing there, they're quite hanging it. But it's what I quite like. I do like an Earl Grey. But
Really?
aye, I do see because I think
I didn't
so
think
when
that's
go to
legal
a
in Scotland.
Starbucks
That's
in
disgusting,
America,
isn't it?
Yeah.
it's a self-conscious thing because when I'm in America and like the wife's going frappuccino, low this, low that, and if I just go breakfast tea, so I always try to say Earl Grey with almond milk and sweetener. But my American accent, I struggle with the R's. So I
Right.
try to say Earl Grey, and
I was going to say
for
on,
Martin, it's
A murder at the
yeah,
Purple Burger Van.
yeah,
on the accent, I was going to say, why, what am I missing here? Why are you doing this accent?
I've seen him as I get because anytime I come is usually when I'm about to start line of duty, and when I come off the tarmac, I start doing the Arnott accent and I stay in it the whole time.
Do you?
Yeah,
Off
all
film?
the time. Yeah, so all whole filming.
So you go to a Belfast coffee shop, don't
Yeah,
order an
yeah.
Earl Grey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Until
No, my
he's
dri-
had 14 pints of Guinness.
Like
and
Mike,
then it-
Mike Clarkey, my lovely driver over here, he's never heard me speaking Scottish unless he phones me when I'm away.
Right.
And some of them don't like when it gets to the rap party because I speak it the whole time, but when it's called cut,
Right.
I go back to Scottish, and a lot of people don't like it. Because they feel like it's
folk
no.
It doesn't sound right.
Aye,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it doesn't suit your face.
Because when you got in my car today, I was like, why is he doing a Scottish accent?
We've misbooked this guy.
The only thing it did get was, see when we're coming this way, there's a big Tesco's up there.
Oh,
That's
aye.
where I used to get my shopping. There's a, and because I love my Chinese, but you can't order one. I would order one 5 nights a week. It was acceptable, but you get a good curry sauce. There's a butcher's curry sauce they sell in there, and I've got a wee bit of craving. I might need to pick up a couple on the way back. That's my big takeaway from Belfast. There's curry sauce.
Dod's disgusted.
Well, I don't know why it sounds shifty. And that is a story. That's an anecdote for me to tell people.
Aye.
And Martin
There you
Compston
go.
over. What was he doing? He wanted to go to Tesco's at Knocknagunny to get curry sauce.
Oh, I mean,
Hold on, you might not. You won't get it back. Oh, have you a check-in
no.
bag?
I'll
No,
check.
he
I'll,
is.
I'll check it in for him.
Right, you
That's
check it
why I'm here. Let's be
Right.
honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To get his curry sauce. That sounds so bad, doesn't it?
put that down for me,
Cheers,
will you?
darling. Yeah, okay.
So we'll. And Gordon, you drink? You a tea man?
Yeah, we've had this conversation. I think we had a conversation. I was a straight Tetley man.
Yeah.
Just really standard. Used to be 2 and a coup, but I've cut my sugar down to 1.
2 and a
now.
what?
2 and a coup.
What does that mean?
It means a cow's milk, none of your oat milk
Yeah.
carry on. So
Almond.
2 sugars
No offense.
and cow milk, 2 and a coup.
Right.
That's what you say on a
Right.
building site.
And your addictive personality, at your lowest, how many teas would you have had a day?
When I'm working, it's a pass because you're just kind of, it's a bored thing, innit? Like you just something a day in between, so you can go through 3, 4, 5, and you're just
Easy.
fucking pissing.
Oh, that's
non-stop.
nothing.
That's,
How many
I
do you
go,
go
I
through?
go, I go through 3 before I've got change out of
Out of
Going
what?
to bed.
Out of what?
But I wear a suit to bed.
You need one in the morning to get like
Aye.
it's the
100,
first
oh,
time,
100%.
right away.
Yeah.
I can't function without it.
Yeah.
No, I
Now,
know.
what about the rest of the couple? Well, Dunbar looks like he'd take a tea, but he looks like he'd bring his own.
No, he does. I can't see him. He does like a tea. I've never really paid that much attention to it, to be honest. But he definitely is tea.
I'm scared. I'm scared of Dunbar. I'm scared of Dunbar.
He is terrified.
He's definitely got. You know, every now and again I call him Compstonite, right? Because he's got the ability to cut down everything I say at the knees. Right. But we've done a few things with Adrian Dunbar now, and he's, you know, when somebody's just got the measure of you.
Yeah.
And your knees start to knock.
Yeah.
And I think it's a Northern Irish thing as well, because he can just look at me and I'm like, I'm really sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, always feeling the need to apologise.
He says it to me as well, because he really likes Gordon. He says, I know I'm in his head.
Yeah.
He says, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And he just starts needling him. I know when he starts shaking himself, because he starts giving me abuse for nothing.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the first time you came here for filming. What year?
First
Like
time,
what roughly?
Oh, mate, I was a pup. That was for some film called, some terrible horror film called Red Mist or Freak
See,
Dog.
he was panicking there because you were in, was it Bones?
Battle of the Bone.
Battle of the Bone.
You heard of it, Martin?
No.
2008 Northern Irish independent zombie film, Battle of the Bone, no? Where Protestants and Catholics come together on the 12th of July to defeat an army of zombies. You haven't heard of it?
No, but
You're sitting opposite the lead.
I've got it.
Battle of the Bone.
That can't be a thing.
This is like one of those
No, slow down that
actors round
plot
table.
for me. Slow down that plot for me again.
Yes. I don't know what we could be confused on. 12th of July.
Yes. I know it's a divisive day over here, eh?
Zombies, well, especially when zombies are running about.
I'm honest, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Protestants, Catholics,
Right.
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, that's never really referenced in the film. Be honest, it's not great. Right? It's not great. I was 18. I was just working as a cameraman on it, like an assistant, because I was in tech at the time studying this. Yeah. And then the guy who was directing it was also the main lead in it. And he went, listen, you just do this. And it is...
That happens all the time in
yeah,
films.
I know.
You just got to the guy at the canteen on set, night of duty, like, listen, Dunbar's sick. Jump in and be Ted Hastings. It was genuinely, I'd never acted before, I'd never done anything like that. And when I say, I mean, it is worth a watch.
Aye.
It's worth a watch.
Did they finish it and all that? Like, is it mate?
I genuinely am surprised you haven't heard of it. It's made.
What's it called?
Battle of the Bone.
Oh, for fuck.
No, I show your work respect.
I love it. Battle of the Bone.
Now, you think... No, that I'll be honest, the beeping in the boot wasn't the
Is there a big bonfire in it?
You're in the sequel, whether you like it or not. And we're recording at one today. Battle of the Bone 2, More Bone. You would have covered it, Gordon.
I think I wrote about it. I remember being invited to the premiere at the Spa.
There was a premiere.
Was that the Tato building?
It was in the cinema at the Odyssey. Like, they went all out. That was the unfortunate bit. Everyone knew about it.
Oh no!
You know, and yeah, it was.
So did you literally? Did you get? Was there any interviews where they asked you how did you come by the part?
Well, yeah, and I was just always honest with it. Look, it had a 10 grand budget, feature film length. Yeah. The last 20 minutes of it are, Mike, what do you call that when it's all like slowed down, stop motion, something like that? The f-stop. What do you call it?
Slow motion.
It was like slow motion, but
24
it was
frame. No.
Like lower. Slow shutters, so it was like it was all create like a dream sequence type thing. See at the very end, right? So acting was a huge problem. Like I'd never acted before. I never acted in anything. Plus, there was no real direction. Or script. It was, and by the way, we ADR'd all of it. In a bedroom in Lisburn.
Got a money laundering feel to it.
Yeah. Was that the VPN movie?
So at the very end, right, the last day of filming, May Street Church in Belfast city centre, loads of people. You know better than you film anything in Belfast.
Yeah,
everybody's there. And when the stars of Battle of the Bone were out on location, everyone's out. Yeah. So it gets to the last scene, and I have to. I don't want to spoil it for you. I kill the main zombie. Right. But I'm on top of some church steps. We're talking 15 feet up, right? About 20 steps. The director goes, so now it was quite an ambitious project anyway, right? To make a feature film. He goes, Shane, so what's going to happen is we've got a Union Jack and a tricolour, big flag, and how I kill the main zombie. Get ready for this. I impale him with the
both.
tricolour and the Union Jack, ending all the conflict here in that moment, right? But as I went to do it, he goes, I said, how do you want to shoot this? And he goes, we're going to throw you the 2 flags. If you could flip off the steps and impale the guy, that would be a great final shot. And I was like, but you're going to do that like after? He went, no, do it now. I said, but I've never. He said, try a flip. I was like, you can't try a flip. You can't. I can't. If I could somersault, I certainly couldn't negotiate 2 10-foot flags and land at the same point. But that was the attitude of this film. It was very much.
Who did he think you were?
Have a go with it. Jackie Chan.
No, but see, the thing is, but there is a weird thing when you're an actor. See, you kind of just day stuff.
Yeah.
You just, and you think it's not your effort. Like, I've been in like dangerous situations during the take, but till somebody says cut, I'll still keep swimming out because you're just like, well, I must be all right. Nobody said cut. And you just go, fuck, I'm drowning. But you just go into this weird mode. But I like the fact. So there was a main zombie. There wasn't like this. He actually had a.
He was more like the leader of the zombies. Yeah.
An autocracy of zombies. I like that.
Yeah.
A big guy.
I'm just glad we're getting in. We're getting.
But just
and now
in terms of,
I
wanted what was the creative thing of the zombies? Was there
I think, Martin, they might be symbolic of the past. I have nobody knows. Nobody knew anything about it. The guy making it didn't know anything. Didn't know what was happening. It was just, let's make a feature film. Should have been a short. Shouldn't have been.
But again, you can do shorts in it, but no zombies.
Yeah.
Like
So there's a lot of. It's fair to say there's a lot of moving parts in it.
There's one. I did a film called Wild Country, which was like a Scottish low budget werewolf movie, and it's one of them ones as well. You're coming. So basically, it was a guy with like a puppet, and he would like shut his jaws, and you'd jump by it. And all he kept telling us, it'll be fixed in post. It'll be fixed in post. And at one point, I'm climbed a tree, and the werewolf's at the bottom of the tree like a big dog, just waiting. And me and the end scene with me and this lassie have run away like, oh fuck, I really love you. Actually, we're up the tree, and then we're making a run for it in the morning, and it's just lying there like a big dog. Be fixed in post. Did it? Fuck, get fixed in post. And I was actually embarrassed to die by this thing. And it was like there was this guy in a suit I had to like try and trip and crawl, and I see the guy under the suit like, I can't move. Like the werewolf is talking to you. Like, can you put your leg in my mouth?
They kept that in. What age were you when you were doing this?
I think I was like 20. Early. I think it was like one of my first films after Sweet 6. So I was just desperate to get in.
What was it like going from Ken Loach to the talking werewolf?
There's another again, like my second film after Ken Loach. I was just chuffed to be working again filming. I went out to Iceland with this fucking director, and I should have realised that he's Oscar nominated for Best Foreign Language. He refused to talk to me the entire shoot, and he says he doesn't like actors. So it's like,
it's a weird gig to get into.
Had he met Shane Todd?
Why is he
He just finished work on Battle of the Bow.
And it was that, like, he would sit and he wouldn't come into breakfast if you were in breakfast. And I was playing somebody I wish knew, because it's quite offensive that I was playing somebody who had some sort of mental illness, but it was never explained to me what it was.
I thought you were going to say a different race.
So my idea of that was just to walk about with my hands in my pockets and my eyes really wide.
Don't give away the secrets like that.
Nobody told me different. And then like I got one through like 6 weeks of filming, like 5 weeks in, a note come through the radios, like a note, and everyone, oh, Friedrich's talking. He's going to talk. And it would come through, and it was like talking Icelandic. And he went, lift your head. And that was it.
That was it.
The only direction you got.
I got it in 6 weeks.
Here's the difference with a werewolf. You knew probably it wasn't going to be great. When we completed Battle of the Bone, I started buying things that I couldn't afford. I was like, it's all going to be all right.
This is it.
I remember saying to my dad, I went, listen, everything's sorted.
It's fine.
Everything's sorted. Get whatever you want. Throwing them an Argus catalogue.
But how many times has it come out of you all watched it as a family? You must have watched it.
We did a watch along in here for the podcast once, and we couldn't get to the end of it. We're like, this is so shit.
I love the artwork as well. I think I looked up the artwork after I saw your stand.
Oh, by the way, I meant to say there's Kung Fu in it.
That's Kung Fu, yeah.
Who's doing the Kung Fu?
Shaney Chan over here.
Shaney Chan.
I need to see this.
You can't. We'll watch it. We'll watch
Chan
it
Todd.
sometime.
I feel like it should be something that should be watched on the 11th, just to calm down the calm down. The
I mean, it sort of did end a lot of conflict because we made an agreement if we made not make a sequel.
Both sides agreed it was shite.
Yeah, they were like, if you don't make a sequel, we'll knock all this in the head.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So that was the first time you came over. So I presumed first time you came over here was Line of Duty.
No, I came over for some.
Did you ever come over when you were a teenager?
No. I think I came over.
I used to go. We used to go over to you to M&D's, to Scotland.
M&D's?
Aye,
People
at
as teenagers
Strathclyde
we used to go over
Park,
to
aye.
M&D's.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No,
By the way,
I came
see
over
until I saw Disney, I thought M&D's
was the bollocks.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I come over for this wee fucking shitey horror. But it was good. I mean, it was a great laugh. There was a load of yous and that, but it was. I can't remember. But I didn't see much yet other than. I can't remember much about the city end because you were kind of just staying in the centre. I remember the first time I took my wife here, and you kind of get used to it. But you seen the armoured police motors, like she'd freak out.
Right.
But I loved it because we used to live by Custom House Square, and there's good eating around Belfast. There's great wee boozers, and I said we're only 25 minutes in the planes. It's very. And I was saying to him as well. I think you probably get. I mean, I'm green up, but Glaswegians, I'd say Manx, Scouse, Cockneys, and Belfast is fucking ruthless. Like the patter's very the same.
Yeah.
So everybody's on you all the time. So you're you need to be on your toes. But I genuinely do love it here.
Just doing like a little the end of my tour there. It was Liverpool, Newcastle, Manchester, a couple of places, Glasgow, Edinburgh.
Aye.
It felt like I never left home.
Yeah.
Because it was just all those places just felt exactly the same.
How's America, by the way?
America was great.
Yeah.
It was so good. Like obviously like very different sizes of venues and like smaller rooms and that kind of thing. It was brilliant.
Class.
It was brilliant.
I had visions of you coming about with a big cowboy hat on, like.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done the South yet, but when I do, that will.
What are you staying for the Odyssey?
What is it?
What you were saying, like you've got the show in September. Are you doing the?
Oh, we're doing the SSE. Yeah. We're doing live podcast. I
Are we
know.
invited to that?
Huh?
Are we invited to that?
Yeah, we're doing a watch along.
It's a big old space.
Actually, we're busy.
It is a big space, and we're sort of that's now dawning on us that
Are you still doing it?
that is happening. Yeah. Now we're going to do the theatre configuration,
Right.
And then genuinely on the first day that we got to that number, and they went, "Do you want to make it bigger?" So we're going to just keep saying along. We can get away with it for, which is
God, NordVPN and Manscaped are going to be thrilled.
I know, sponsors Dodgy Streams and Pubes.
damn right.
Yeah.
It's the name of this week's episode. What was the first time you came over?
I came over to do an interview with Kylie Minogue in Belfast because they used to always start the big tours in Belfast, weirdly. And that would have been 2003, I think, maybe 2004. And you always stay at the Europa, don't you? And has anybody ever stayed at the Europa without the great fact before you arrive there?
Most bombed.
Yeah.
Tell in Europe.
Yeah. So we stayed there and interviewed Kylie Minogue, and I think that was the first time I came to Belfast. It's funny you say that though, because all the Land Rovers were grey at that point, and then over the years they got painted white. That was the progress in 20 years. What we need, lads, is a different colour scheme for these.
It's all okay now.
Yeah. But I used to come. Like I said to you, I come over all the time with Nesbitt, and have I been over with Dawn? Yeah, I don't think I have. And some of the boys, Stevie Martin and all that, and I love it. Up to Portrush, one night in Belfast. It's the Spaniard, isn't it? The pub.
Spaniard.
Oh,
Yeah, I
a
love
great
the Spaniard.
spot.
There's
great
one
pint.
pub as well. What's the one? See across
Yeah.
Europa, but there's the Crown, but there's another one.
Robinson's.
Is that the kind of rough one?
Yeah.
No, there's one. No.
No.
Because what I remember about it is I was filming something here, and there was a guy who wasn't very familiar with Belfast, shall we say, over, and some of the lads of the crew said, like, just don't go in there by yourself. Like, maybe he said, no, I'm fucking here. I'll come in, and he came into work the next day with a black eye, and he said, I fell down the stairs with all that.
But in fairness, they do have karaoke,
Yeah.
so you might get beat up.
Aye.
But you,
No, man, it's
but I will
like a
survive.
bit of crack here. It feels like, I mean, I don't know, but it feels like the city centre's a wee sort of neutral zone. Is that?
It's
I
good
don't-
shooting, good shooting town as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is safe. As much as people talk about it, I think it is a pretty safe city compared to loads of others, and it's friendly. Like, but like you say, you are on your toes.
We had a funny. I don't know which series it was you were doing a Line of Duty, but it was probably 2014 because Scotland played Ireland in Dublin, and for some reason Vauxhall sponsored us to go to the game. So I drove from Glasgow, picked up Martin in Belfast, But I'd arranged my flight back from Dublin to Scotland and didn't consider that I might need a passport for that.
Right. Yeah.
So I had promised my wife I'd be back to help with the kids on the Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm standing at the airport, massive queue of pissed Scottish folk after a shite 1-1 draw or whatever it was, in absolute agony. And the guy's like, "You're not getting on the plane, mate, you ain't got a passport." I said, "Oh, fuck." So I went back to the hotel, knocked on the door. After about 25 minutes, he answered it. I don't know what he was doing.
Sleeping?
I think he was reenacting Battle of the Bone. Eventually, then realised that there was going to have to be a few of us in a Vauxhall Astra driving back to Glasgow.
All the way back.
So I think you had to do scenes as Steve Arnott in a wheelchair, but you were actually probably
man.
needed to be in it.
That
It
was
was the
like,
most depressing day of my life. In the back of an Astra with you sitting on my knee,
but the hype
steaming.
of us going down the way
Oh,
to the game was amazing.
brilliant.
And then just coming up utterly broken.
Oh,
man.
the car was reeking.
Yeah.
See, when you started coming over here for Line of Duty, did you have an idea of just how big it would be? Can you ever predict that kind of thing?
Really no, mate, in terms of I don't think I've been back since the last one where it went to a whole other. It seems like each one it's got grew, like even because there was one scene we were doing round over at the post office and it's me and Stevie Graham on the street pointing guns at each other and I went, this is maybe not the best place to be doing this. But then yeah, that was series 5 and we're just about getting away with it with people coming over and watching, whereas I felt by the time we'd come back and we'd started 6 there was a crowd ways everywhere we went and I mean it's great, but like that I love now that pishy underpass we used to meet has now became like a tourist hotspot. And you know, it was like a wee dodgy bit we used to go under it hanging, but now I like now that we've kind of claimed that wee bit. But no, I this is the first time I've been back since I feel like it's went, because it has. I mean, when we started, I think we were getting like 3-4 million a week in BBC Two. No, I mean, it sounds like it's the most watched drama of the century now. So it's beyond what any is could have thought. And I know it's because I'm here saying about, but we really do feel like this is part of it. Like, because as well, especially the crew. You know what I mean? Like it's people. It's the same people, Kat and Clark here, like the people makeup and drivers and all that kind of feel.
Dermy, the driver.
No, so Dermy.
Did you have Dermy? He was Game of Thrones and Dornan and all. But
they
all knew each other, didn't they? Right?
Yeah.
But that's what I find surreal about that time of your life, because you had all the Game of Thrones characters living in the same block of flats. So you've got Adrian Dunbar, Vicky McClure,
Kit was upstairs.
Kit Harington,
right?
That's just weird. Isn't
It is, yeah. But I think the point where I realised like Line of Duty was like properly embedded here was when people stopped watching it and doing that whole thing of I know that street, or like I used to play football there, that's my granny. So it got to the point where like people were like, let's just watch a show. Because when we see stuff here, we're amazed someone's filmed here, and you're watching it to see where it was filmed, as opposed to like just loving the show.
One of the I love those, we were doing the last kind of raid scene of like the last of the big one where me and Vicky jump out the thing and catch all the thing, and we catch the balaclava men. And where were we? We were up, I can't remember what they call it. There's a RPG Alley or something they used to call it, or something. There's a bit up there. I mean, I saw it. And, but so the up round the corner. So we're as the cops, and we're waiting like in the ambush bit, and there's a Land Rover full of balaclava men parked up the street, and somebody come out the door and went, "Lads, watch, the cops are down there."
No way.
That's brilliant. It's just another. It's weird. It's another world,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's people's
story.
lives, man, isn't it? It's like you kind of. So if it's what you grow up with, it's kind of normal, isn't it?
Did you not very nearly do something else though when you auditioned for Line of Duty? Was there not another? You had to make a decision.
I was doing the Wee Man. I got offered the Wee Man at the time.
Yeah.
It was a kind of our famous kind of gangster kind of story, and at the time they were both. Luckily, my agents kind of hang, but I didn't know what Line of Duty would be. I grew up with the Paul Ferris story. We all did in Scotland, and I was determined. And at one point when I was wee, well, maybe I was about 17, 18, and I heard Bobby Carlyle was playing him, and there was that famous picture of Paul Ferris and Bobby Carlyle coming out the Hotel de Vin.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember my agent, like, just get me in that film. Like, I just want to be a part of it. Because you grew up, and then a couple of years later, I get a call saying they want it to be you. And I got Line of Duty at the same time, and I was just like, the agent says that if it comes to it, what one? I went, well, it's got to be the Wee Man. Like, I'd be gutted if somebody else played that part. But,
yeah.
I mean, I'd be fucking gutted if
I know.
return line of duty didn't. But
Yeah,
thankfully my agent at the time sorted it out.
Shane often says that about whether he was behind the camera on Battle of the Bone.
It's bullshit.
It's like he could have been renowned cinematographer.
We could have sent a taxi to pick you guys up.
without the beat in the back.
Let me ask how you guys met, because I don't know.
I think it's funny, isn't it? Because we've crossed paths a few times, but playing football is probably the best answer, isn't it? So I think the first time we really started speaking is he played for Baby Shambles in a football tournament.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Used to be like that was after the Libertines.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ask him how many members of Baby Shambles were in that football team.
Well, there was definitely people who knew Baby Shambles on the team.
Own a CD.
Was it like a league for bands of that ilk? Like would you just be like the way to the pigeon detectives?
Celebrity
Soccer
Soccer
it used to
Sixes,
be. And
yeah.
I think we ended it because we put out the Sun team, we beat Soccer AM and all that, but we had Neville Southall in goal in 079, so we won every game 1-0.
Yeah.
Do you know that's the secret to those tournaments, isn't it? It's having a great goalie.
Big Nev's not
raging,
shipping
but,
anything.
like it was supposed to be like 12-minute games, and we played Soccer AM for about half an hour because Sky just wanted us to get beat, and then literally at the end the trophy was just like cut, and I don't think it came back. But the last, I'd say this. So Gordon, honestly, again, he's been. I think he's a massive support to any emerging talent, especially in Scotland, whether it be actors, I don't know, poets, comedians, musicians. He was always that. But the first time I saw him, I've had a terrible problem with my ears over the years, and I ended up one of them. I had to get an operation, but I was kept going to the doctors, and they couldn't find out what it was. And there was one one point it was getting really bad, and I come out of my local health centre. Before you say something else, it was for the ears.
Every time. It sounds like you're covering up for having knob rot.
So I'm coming out, but you know what I mean? And I was like...
I didn't know you were a doctor.
I was really feeling shit, come out pissing the rain, and there was this massive billboard, and there was this utter prick lying on a bed of VIP tickets with his head behind us saying, the most connected man in Britain. And I was just like, I've never hated anybody.
That reaction. Oh no.
And I was just like, and I didn't know he was Scottish. I just saw this, I was like, oh, what an utter prick. There's two people, it's been weird, but you're in good company. The other one was, I got the same ear condition, I was coming out in audition, I fell and tripped because my equilibrium went. Again, was pissing the rain, was on the tube, and it was George Clooney on an espresso, so I'm going, perfection. I just went, you utter that was my introduction to him. But again, he's been a massive support to a lot of people coming through. You know, he'll kind of, and then he literally put a roof over my head at one point, and then I nearly brought the roof down. But
that backfired, didn't it? We've been peddling Shane Todd a bit recently, actually.
Yeah.
Touting you for a few bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Come back.
We went to a nice... like me and my mate Dave were doing a gig in London, and we met Gordon beforehand. Yeah. And I was going to suggest somewhere. I was like, do you want to go Nando's or Nero or something like that? And Gordon's like, where do we go?
The Groucho. We went to
the Groucho.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I have never felt more like not knowing like
you
where
boys
to stand or sit. I'm like, I genuinely, at one point I thought I remember Craig from the first Big Brother.
Yeah.
I lost my mind. I was like, I think that's Craig from Big Brother. It wasn't, but it for a second I thought it was.
So I'm used to seeing you boys in here like having a crack and all this. I was like, these boys are a wee bit different in real life. Like, they're a bit nervous. And
I brought
uptight.
a plastic bag with sandwiches in it.
You had the Tesco value bag.
Yeah.
I loved
with
it.
a meal deal in it.
Yeah.
And,
but they appreciate that in there. This guy must be really talented.
Yeah.
He's come in with these
that's
his own bag of
It's
crisps.
funny, but we don't like, because the Groucho's been, could be quite a tip, but we've been ripping the shit out of the place for the last 20 years. It's
I've just read Bob Mortimer's book.
What
12 Sugars in His Tea?
Yeah.
Incredible. But his stories about the Groucho are phenomenal. Like him and Mark Lamar picking fights with Ronnie
Alex
Corbett.
Higgins was
Alex
in
Higgins.
one in the
He had a
book.
fight with Alex Higgins. It's brilliant. It's a great place.
Who's the most bizarre person you've seen there, or let me extend that? Who's the most bizarre person you've had a pint with?
The most bizarre person or bizarre combination I've seen in there was Bill Clinton with the Crankies. Fucking beat that.
Wait, no, I knew the Bill Clinton, but where did the Crankies come in here?
I say with. They were in the same.
No, not in my head.
They were in the same room.
And you know what Bill's like.
I know.
What a
challenging wank, that, isn't it?
A Gordon Smart exclusive. Bill Clinton.
Do you know what? It always makes me laugh, right? Because Piers Morgan used to give me shite when I got the job. He sent me an email and said, "Dear Gordon, you will never be as good as me," because he did the same job. And they were renovating the office, right? And they'd lifted all the floor tiles and a bit of flooring, and I found an old Piers Morgan bazaar. And we used to have these things called biz bites, right? 40-word shorts, time like Shane Todd's playing Odyssey this weekend. You can also get the re-release of Battle of the Bones for
Deluxe edition.
Deluxe edition. Anyway, I found his old column, right? And there was a bit in the top corner and it just said, "Great to see Eric Bristol's mum back out. She was having a gin and tonic in Stringfellows last night after a recent kidney operation. Get well soon, Liz." It's like, is this the
Also,
level?
weird place to go for a casual drink after an operation.
I know.
I'll just have one. I'll just
Just the stringies for a gin and tonic.
Martin, weirdest person you've had a pint with?
See what
I've got
we're
loads.
weird or like or
You can think. Do
famous.
you want to think while I give you another
Aye.
answer?
Go on.
How does Timmy Mallet work for you?
Oh, I can see Mallet not known as Limits.
So here's the story, right? So Shrek 2 was coming out, and I was like, how on earth am I going to make this more interesting for the paper? And I don't know if you know, but Timmy Mallet gave Mike Myers his break in TV on a kids' TV program called The Wide Awake Club.
No idea.
And I thought, brilliant, I'll reunite Timmy Mallet with Mike Myers on the green carpet of Shrek 2. So I got extra tickets, I got in touch with Timmy Mallet, arranged to meet him.
How do you? Sorry, can I just ask? How do you get in touch with Timmy Mallet?
This is going to sound ridiculous. I think I asked Bobby Davro. I think I asked Bobby Davro for his number. So I got in touch with Timmy and he's met me for a drink. And I don't mind betraying any confidences here. He was an absolute prick to the waiters.
Mallet?
And I was like, Timmy, like, giving it one of them.
To be fair, when you've got that profile, you sort of
And he
understand
was
it.
dressed in the full Mallet's mallet, like red glasses and all that. And I was like, this is a fucking terrible idea. So sure enough, we marched down the green carpet, as it was. And then Mike Myers at that point, probably one of the most famous men on the planet, wasn't he? He walked in and Timmy's pulled out the mallet from... So the mallet's made of foam, I should imagine. It's squashed into a wee bag. So when he pulls it out, it goes... And he's walked up and gone whack, whack. And smashed Mike Myers in the face with the mallet. So we've been huckled, like... battered by security. And Mike Myers is like, guys, stop. Timmy, I've not seen you for years. And then it's the quickest reunion I've ever seen because it was like, Timmy, fuck off. We get emptied out back to the restaurant around the corner where he was appalling to the waitress.
Would there be anything more sad than seeing Mallet on the tube home, just trying to squeeze the foam hammer back into the bag?
Trying to put it back in?
It doesn't fit.
Oh man, I've got loads of them.
I don't know if I get any close to that. One of the bizarre, like, I've been really lucky to meet some fucking proper rock stars, but one of the bizarrest ones when I went, this is getting weird, was when Sweet 16 first came out and I'd went to Cannes Film Festival. And Cannes amazing because, see, if you're in competition, you are the stars for that night. It's not like when you go to another film festival and they're like, oh, the big premieres tomorrow, Brad Pitt's into. It's like, if you're in competition, you've got a 14-car convoy and there's hundreds and thousands of photographers and fans. And our after party, Chuck Norris and Prince Albert was in our wee bit.
Oh, amazing.
And it was, I was like, is this? But then the problem was, like, I thought, this is how this job goes. And then the next job was the big fucking daft werewolf and thing.
Can I just double check? Did you say Chuck Norris with a Prince Albert or and Prince Albert?
There was various other people floating about. It was just a weird... When you get there, it is. You're just floating about from boat to hanging. And as well, I said, because I think we won a couple of awards that year. You're fating about the gaff. I never watched, but and that's, see, having that as your first film, and I went back with one more, but I thought every film you get comes out, you just come back here.
You're right.
20 years later, I'm still waiting to go back. But that was
Battle
that
of the Bone
was
2, More Bone, three of us
Chuck Norris
with the Crankies and
Yeah.
Timmy Mallet
And Bill Clinton doing the soundtrack and saxophone.
living it up.
Living it up.
Let me ask you about starting. You both started a podcast together.
Aye.
Is it not like, I know we're here every Friday usually. We do all our episodes and we can all kind of commit to that.
Aye.
But is it not really hard for you two to commit to like being in the same place and also having time?
Well, the weird thing is, right, I think people assume you're always working, but last year was mental, wasn't it?
That's
And
why
in
we started it,
I
maybe,
started
yeah.
doing it because he was a loose end, and without putting too much of a downer on things, I was having a bit of a shite time.
Yeah.
And I thought the best way to do it was to ride on his coattails to try and resurrect a faltering career. To be fair, it's worked all right, actually. But the weird thing is as well, like you said it, didn't you, that the last thing the world needs is another podcast from an actor.
Aye.
But I started doing podcasts at the paper in 2008, weirdly. And I remember sitting in a cupboard interviewing Amy Winehouse thinking, this is a total waste of time. I wish I'd kept hold of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So and then again, I think I did about 800 podcasts when I was at XFM and Radio X.
Yep.
So it's a bit frustrating to do 19 episodes and have more of a reaction for that
Yeah.
than the previous 1,400 episodes that I'd pissed
vault.
out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I've really, it's weirdly, it's the thing I look forward to the most, because like, you know, you're the same. The minute you're in a company of somebody from Northern Ireland, the West Coast of Scotland, Newcastle, Liverpool, you've got to be on your toes.
Yeah.
And my missus said to me the other day, she's like, Martin's really quite cruel to you. And I was like, have you heard what I fucking say to him?
But do you not find it a totally different medium to acting and things like that you've done, in that there doesn't need to be a rehearsal, there's no retake, it's just
I love that. It's what Gordon said. So I had a mad last year, done 4 jobs back to back. Last one was a really dark character, ends with the character committing suicide. It was in a bit of a dark place, to be honest. And then I had a load of jobs was coming up this year, and I just said to agents, like, I need a bit of time out. And then they said, all right, well, we've got 3 lined up. And then one of them got moved. I said, that's fine. Then another one got moved. And then all of a sudden, asking to take a couple of months off turned into 7-8 months without work. And I was like, fuck. And it's that hanging, waiting on the phone all the time. I hate being at the behest of other people.
Yeah.
And me and him had a load of ideas for a long time. Like, we should do a festival for charity. We should do a whiskey. And I've been saying to him for ages, because he's got an annoyingly, beautifully dulcet voice, like saying you should have your own podcast, because all his stories and stuff, like, he tells. I've heard them all, but even when I'm out, I'm like, tell that story.
Right,
like I love all the mad tales he's got. So I was like, you should do it. And then we just kind of done it together. But you're right, it is hard for the twos to kind of, because we are on the move and you're getting busy, like really busy coming to me. But at the same time, I look forward to the catch up. But it's the clickbait headlines.
I know.
That really, because I feel like
I mean, it was kind of my job to get stories out of people, right? And now what happens is I sit and ask you questions that become stories in a paper.
Aye.
But like, I took him for an eye test, right? He really needed glasses, and the headline was.
Sorry.
I did.
Martin, what age? You took him for an eye test?
Because he can't fucking see, you know. It's getting to a ridiculous.
Can't see, can't hear.
You were reading that earlier, I was like, how the fuck is he seeing that?
Aye.
But so he took me. What was it says?
So I tell you, the woman said, you've got to make sure he really gets a set of glasses, because he really needs these.
Right.
Why was I telling you about going for an eye test?
No, because you were going for it. You and I just tagged along.
There was a reason I was telling you about going for an eye
No,
test.
and then because it turned into the headline, Martin
Compston's medical. What was it?
I refuses to treat a medical emergency.
Or it was said that you had a bizarre illness
Aye.
or something like that. And it's basically called an astigmatism of the eye, which means you've got one slightly different shaped eye, and 80-90% of the population's got it. But the headline read, so your phone starts ringing going, and then I suddenly had this epiphany of, fuck, I used to cause this shite for about 15 years of my life, you know.
Yeah.
But it was well from that story I started, because there's like having my independence politics nailed to the mast. There's a certain kind of demographic over there who hate me, and I've came to peace with that. But from on that headline came, I hope you've reported him to police. He's obviously not been driving without glasses, and started tagging in the police Scotland. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? But it gets so I feel like I'm quite a private person in terms of like I like keeping my son and like, because I do like keeping a bit, but when you're on the podcast you feel like talking about it, because you feel like you're talking with your mate, and I don't feel like it's. But then all of a sudden you kind of then you realise, well, fuck, should I really be talking about that?
That's what I love about what you do, right? Is because you get a chance to. It feels like to me like you're properly free to have a joke about stuff. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And I feel so constricted by what I can say because of the other jobs I have. And actually, the podcast you could do if you were actually really yourself.
Yeah.
It'd be sensational. I think Ricky Gervais has got it. You can do it to a certain extent. And I think that's the weird thing about Martin, is that actually a lot of actors need somebody to write funny stuff for them, but you are actually a really funny fucker when you're being yourself.
When I'm drunk.
When you're high.
But as well, it's the same. Can you imagine the book you could write?
I know. Well,
you will.
But I came on your podcast last time, and it's such a funny phone call because you phoned me and we're like, Gordon, I'm a little bit worried about
So
about Harry Styles.
we talked about times where the press runs wild with something. And Gordon was mentioning, look, sometimes if friends get themselves in a bit of bother with the press or anything like that, I'm there for a bit of advice or that kind of thing. The second after the podcast was uploaded, I rang him and was like, I need that advice. He told me a story about Harry Styles when he was on X Factor, involving Harry Styles and Matt Cardle. We put a clip out, and the comments went, because
his fans
comments went wild. They're like, he was 16, you nonce. I was like, what? I didn't do anything.
It was so funny.
Oh my!
It was the tone of your voice, because I'm used to seeing you being gregarious.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, and you're giving it the big one, and you're like, Gordon, should I be worried about this?
I don't sound like that.
And it's like, you were so
but
timid.
I think
I was like, mate, fuck it, it's fine.
I think he does this. I think it's a scam. I think he tells you. He lets you know. He lets you know if you get into a bit of bother, I'll do a bit of consultancy, and then he says something to fuck you, and then he knows you're going to phone him.
Yeah.
I'm
just thinking about a grenade that I could launch across to you. You can't use words like that around here.
The Clinton crankies we might run into it. When the crankies fans get hold of that. We're in for it.
To be fair, they battered me in the telly last year because they came on to defend supporting England in the Euros.
Right.
And I suddenly, when you agree to do something on the telly and they're like, oh, by the way, you're going to be debating with the crankies. And I thought, oh, for fuck's sake. And I've got Ian Tuff, who is Mr. Cranky, from his home in Australia, telling me why I should support England in the Euros. And I'm like, you're sitting there with your wife dressed as a wee boy, telling me who I should be fucking supporting, and you can't swear. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I just want to say, fuck off, the pair of you, telling me to support England, you pair of dicks. And then you realise, no, actually, I've got to broadcast for the BBC.
Yeah.
Can he
it
say
is
that?
nice to
But it's funny as well, you can't see not getting drawn into that, because we were all told we've just finished this big week of junkets, and the grief Andy Murray, and I like the bit of banter about the England and all that stuff, but people do, like, after the last Euros, the fucking stick I was getting after they lost. And then there's a journalist sitting and she went, and I was like, so don't, the PR's like, just like, if anybody asks her, and she sat down, she's like, what do you think of my England nails, Martin? So what do you think of the game? And I'm like, I can't not.
You've got to say something.
Yeah.
You're just an instant, you say something like, oh, got you.
That gets
That's
it. Especially when football's involved, obviously, because football means so much. Like, I'm a huge football fan, but like you say, like, an eye test suddenly becomes. Suddenly there's a way to work politics into that.
I was looking at a fucking 5 stretch.
So we went to Wembley. You were meant to come, but you couldn't because you couldn't get insured for the Scotland-England game at Wembley, the best 0-0 victory ever. And
to go and watch?
We were going to go.
Because I was filming at the time and with COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
So I drove from Scotland to Wembley. There was about 4 Scottish lads. Everybody else was English. Yeah. And you remember Phil Foden bleached his hair to look like Gaza.
Yeah.
But he got subbed off, didn't he, after because Billy Gilmore played him off the park. And he was about 10 feet away, and one of the boys I was with went, how's that Gaza haircut working out for you now, Phil Foden, you wee fanny? And he just turned around with about another 10,000 folk, and I was like, what a way to go.
Favorite last words.
That's actually a lovely mouthful if you've had a few shots. How's that Gaza
working out for you?
He's had that written on the way down, like, for sure.
There's a guy, I've told you this, there's a guy on my Instagram who, whatever quota comes up and he's hanging it, it's a Union Jack he's hanging, it just comes up every time one morning. Yeah, wee fanny. Regardless, I'll post about Line of Duty, I'll post about my charities. It just comes, and it got to the point, I dare no look for it. And if he's not posted on it, yeah, wee fanny, I'm quite disappointed.
To be fair, it's quite time consuming keeping those aliases going.
Do you? What about like on street interaction? Do you get a lot of that, or do you find a lot of it's keyboard type stuff?
Yeah, it's great.
I've never, wherever I've been, everybody in. To your face, everybody's brand new. It's just fucking online can be an utter cesspit with it. But again, it's that actor kind of thing of you get 20 fucking really lovely replies, and it's the wee fanny is the one that sticks with you all day. So,
do you read the reviews of your gigs?
Weird thing about doing stand-up is you don't get like reviews, or it's only usually going to be positive stuff. But I think definitely when I started stand-up, one bad comment or.
Can you remember one? I bet you can.
I remember a review. Do you want me to find the sentence?
See, I love this.
Do you want to find the sentence?
Fucking save it for our podcast.
Hold on.
Can you cut this up for us, boy?
If I can find the line. So here's the background to this gig, right? It was at the Galway Comedy Festival. There was a hen doing. Now the rule kind of for. Bet you I'm not going to be able to find it. I'll find it for your podcast, right?
Yeah.
The rule with a hen do is if you're doing stand up. Don't mention it unless you have to.
Right.
So if they start heckling or whatever, then of course. But trying because they're going to want to take over the show.
Yeah.
Don't same with the stag do.
Aye.
Don't bring it up unless you have to. And the MC went, yeah. He goes, boys, it'll not be an issue. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm going to do my material. He literally walked on and went, who's the lucky fella? Who's getting married? Who's getting married?
Oh no.
And we're like, oh Jesus. And I was trying to get them back on side and do the gig. And I think it was something along the lines of with the air of a student teacher.
Oh.
Trying to control a rowdy class.
That's brilliant.
And it was fair.
That is.
I mean, it was totally accurate.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I know exactly what. To be fair, that's quite a good analogy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was telling him the other day about there's a journalist called Dan Cairns who's absolutely brilliant, super talented guy. He works for the Sunday Times, and he described a band as fiercely average.
How fun.
And they just cannot get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's there forever.
What about when you were back in the day, if you were running a big story
Yeah.
or in the middle of something, did you ever get on the street hassle at any point? Or did you have got a fan come up to you? Or even the person?
I still get
involved?
it now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I got punched in the face in a pub one night by a Millwall fan who said, he put his arm over the door. I was walking into the toilet and he said, we're paying for your fucking family's prescriptions, you janky fuck. And I was like, what? He said, you're all heroin addicts, but we're paying for your prescriptions, your free prescriptions in Scotland, you Scottish junkie. And I was like, that's very good, but you don't mind when we're spilling our blood for you in Afghanistan, do you? Fuck off. Thinking, that's got a good comeback, that. Bang! And I'm like, fuck's sake! I thought, well, he wins. And that was,
also, you can't get you can't get heroin on prescription.
he was trying to make a methadone,
a
methadone point, wasn't he? But not quite hitting the mark.
But
I've had a few bad
ones.
ones.
Semantics of heroin here.
Favourite subject. But it's I mean, I remember I had got to introduce bands on stage at the Albert Hall one night, and I walked out, and the guy that introduced me said, "It's Gordon Smart from The Sun." I was like, don't fucking do that. Say XFM. And a guy in the front row just went, you cunt.
Yeah.
And I was like, great. What a start this is tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a mirror reader in the front row here.
Yeah.
What was the one as well? Fuck, what was it? I got to come to me. I just forgot what it was. Oh, sorry,
I get a few. I mean, the worst thing is when you see people coming up and going, oh, Martin, I loved you in this. And then they go, you're that dick for The Sun. And you're like, yeah, that's me, guys. That's me. Yeah.
Do you, let me ask you about Soccer Aid, because that's my dream.
Yeah. I know, me too.
I would give up if you were like, do you want to do this huge comedy gig type thing?
Yeah.
Or do you want to have a 15-minute cameo and try and skin Roberto Carlos? It'd be Soccer Aid. Now, is that the coolest thing you've ever done? I've done it a few times.
Can I just interrupt very quickly here, right? Because I got a call from Soccer Aid about 10 years ago.
I thought you were going to say that was Roberto texted me the other day when I was sitting with you. But you're going to go with the one that you got me into Soccer Aid.
Aye, they phoned me up and I was like, oh brilliant, this is the moment, finally, big newspaper columnist, all the rest of it. Have you got Martin Compston's number?
Yeah.
And anyway, that. But
how many times you played in it?
5.
It never gets old, I think.
What's your record?
I've won 4.
Oh, wow.
I lost one on pens, aye. No, mate, honestly, but it's just because there is like the celebrities, but it's like Usain Bolt and that. I mean, like icons, like a big man's cool, but you're talking Del Piero, Seedorf, fucking Roberto Carlos, Cafu. I was sitting, me and Tom Grennan, were sitting with Cafu and Roberto Carlos in their transit.
Fuck you.
Was Timmy Malley there? Did you get his number off Bobby Davro?
So we're sitting there, right, and I'm hanging on every word, and they were all telling us how he was that good because he never changes. Like, no game, he's never up or down. And I was sitting there talking to him, and I've had a few more scoops. I'm like, come on, I said, but look, come on, like, it's got to be, I said, the World Cup final. It's your whole country. You've got to get at least a wee bit up and down. And he looked at the translator and I looked back at me and he went, the first one. I went, yeah, fuck
it's
it.
amazing, isn't it?
That's the level you're dealing with. But genuinely, the ones that played well, it's not like it. The ones that played bad. Scoring a pen last year was amazing. But I really should say that I'm getting older. I feel like, because for sure the first time I did it, I realised all what I did it was for football, being completely honest. Like, it was dream scenario stuff. But becoming a dad since then, and you see these videos and all that of where the money goes, you're like, oh, actually, there's a side to it. But I was probably getting to going. I tried to say with this, but after 5, I was like, maybe I've done my time, and I went away with them this year. I went to, I can't say much about it to him, but I went to Bangladesh with soccer this year, and I'll do it for the rest of my life, because I've seen firsthand the difference the money makes. But no, just on a personal level, football, like, it's a great.
And for anybody watching going, that's just another actor fucking saying that, I can vouch for you that it was a properly genuine.
Yeah, and I totally get what you're saying. Like, once you become a dad, or like you look at every situation like that, and it totally changes. I'm just like, because we're still just out of the newborn phase with the second.
Yeah.
I'm like a mess at anything on TV that comes up. I couldn't. At the minute, I couldn't watch you do it. I'd need to wait and watch that in a couple of months. You know what I mean?
Because you start putting yourself. I've had some recurring nightmares for it. Just because you start putting your wee ones in that situation, and you're like, but there for the grace of God, innit? You really don't. You start just seeing the world a bit differently.
It's funny, you've got to be careful saying it, because you do get a lot of criticism from people saying you don't need to be a dad or have a daughter or have a son to understand that. But it does make a difference, because you are properly immature until you finally have another human to be responsible for. And that is a mad thing.
You can just relate it to yourself. You know what I mean? Especially with
this guy, actually, this boy was driving me, and he was a really fascinating boy, and he's got a couple of wee ones, and he was saying when he was taking his kids to Florida, he kept just thinking about the Wayne getting snatched by an alligator. And then I know that sounds, but then he says he was talking to like a psychiatrist about it. He says, no, that's your mind scanning. That's what you do when you become a parent, of like, what can possibly go what wrong, and what is the worst. So you just start thinking, so all this wild shit that comes in your head is you just assessing the danger.
But it happens, like, I have these moments when my kids were really wee, and you're relaxed, like, nah, they need a bit of freedom, they need to understand danger. And we were on holiday in Crete, and there was this kind of pirate ship that was definitely not going to pass health and safety for a kid's swimming pool. And I was like, Kate, just relax, let him play, he's having a great time. As I saw Jimmy open a plastic gate about 30 feet up and go,
can I just clarify, Nesbitt?
His mother's surrogate child. Yeah.
I think
and here to choose, because I would ask you to, but does it get, because I find it funny when I take Urwi into the soft play, and all my best mates have got 2. Now I'm still after him, and I'm like fucking banging Wayne's out the way, and I'm on the bounce castle. They're all like, just fucking let them go.
No.
I can't fit on most of them.
I'm the same as you. I'm running about. I'm with him. I pushed another kid out of the way.
That'll come back and bite you on the arse though, massively. You've got to relax about it, because little kids are little problems, but big kids are big problems, and that is so fucking true, right? The problems that are beginning to arrive at my door, you're like, oh fuck, can we go back to the soft play, please? You know?
The soft play is its own world. There's a lot of it's a jungle.
And the one I actually go to is called the jungle. It's called Jungle Extreme, and that's what my wee boy says, Daddy Jungle, and I'm like, fuck man.
And I like, see, there's a bit in this one I go to where like it's for only under 5s, and he is, and then you see like a big 7-year-old run about. I'm like, I go, I wait till the parents are. I go, I think you have to get out. I'll say that like
Shane's 2 footing him into the ball.
I was with my wee one the other day, and it was the same. He was well bigger, and he didn't have a wristband on, so I feel like, so I was like, he's definitely staff. He's related to somebody in here, and he was like hoarding all the wee things, and my wee boy, fucking 3, just wanted one. He went, hey, and I was like, I think you need to share them.
Yeah.
I can't wait till you boys progress to the danger of water slide parks, right? So we went on holiday to Florida, and Jimmy's like, Dad, I want to do the big one. And I'm thinking about his diving experience with Jimmy Nesbitt and Crete. And we've got up to the top of this volcano in Florida, and they play like Polynesian drums, like dum 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 dum, to build the suspense as you're getting up. And I can see him gradually beginning to really shite himself. And I did I said, Jimmy, do you want me to go first? He went, no, I'm going first. And I was like, all right. And they put you in that glass coffin at the top. And they're horrible bastards at the top of those things. So they're like, are you ready to go, son? And Jimmy's like, terrified. The guy goes, on the count of 5, are you ready? And Jimmy's like, 5, 4. and he's fucking gone. I get to the bottom like 5 minutes later. This is traumatised wee boy with a trailer running shite in the pool. Aye, so bad decision.
It's definitely changed me in that I love traveling for stand up, but there's definitely like there's a limit to it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I want to travel like loads of the year and I want to go and do this and do that, and now I do.
So you do it more now?
I want to do. I want to do the minimum amount
Yeah.
that I have to, and I just want to get in and out, and I never want to be based anywhere other than home.
Have you made the mistake of saying babysitting your own child?
Yeah.
I occasionally catch Martin saying,
No, I think I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah, no, you're good
I
actually.
I do. That doesn't annoy me people say, because they're especially at that age, they're changing that quick.
Aye.
Yeah.
And I've noticed even so, we're lucky. We've got a house in the west coast of Scotland where I'm from, close to my mum and dad, and one over in Vegas where my wife's from, and so we spent most of the year here. So he loves his wee nursery in Scotland. He's running about doing his thing, kicking a ball, and just before I left he says, "Daddy, the soccer ball." And I went, "Oh." And then even the 2 weeks I've been away now, he's got a wee American accent because he's over at school there, and I'm like,
Right.
he's changing so quick.
Well, Jimmy lived in South East London, right? So he was coming up and he went, "Dad, can I have some cake?"
See, I would have disowned him.
Listen to me, son. No, you fucking can't. And then, to be fair,
bit of caramel shortcake.
but to be fair to him, at least I don't mind Danny Dyer so much, but if he'd said, "Cuz,"
Yeah. Roadman.
yeah,
I'm a roadman. They told me that when I was gigging in London. Yeah.
I was like, fuck it.
blood.
But he went to a playgroup, but it was so multicultural. It was like Jimmy came back singing head, shoulders, knees and toes in Chinese.
And this is Nesbitt.
Yeah. Well, I have adopted Jimmy Nesbitt.
Yeah.
He needed a steady Scottish
Have you had him on?
It's like you're talking about being someone's head. It's Dunbar being someone's in your head.
Yeah.
Nesbitt's in there.
Rent free.
Shane,
Rent free.
Can I tell you a secret? And I really wish this had happened now, because Jimmy was going to come on our podcast in here. But imagine
While I'm here,
because I think we're recording here.
Maybe that's
So-
why you said.
No, imagine you come in.
it would take a lot for me to batter a pensioner. But that might be it.
I love him.
No,
Love him.
It's been cat and mouse. It's been cat and mouse. It will happen at one point.
Well, you know what? Know what you do then? Maybe I'll ruin it for the thing. You build the suspense. He's not coming on, and then who walks on stage at fucking Odyssey?
Yeah.
There you go, a bit of showmanship.
See, and I heard.
And then just tell him, fuck off, Jimmy.
Yeah. I'm gonna phone Bobby Davro and try and get him.
Amazing.
Yeah. I he will. It'll happen. It'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it. But do you think if he doesn't agree to it, like get some boys to go around and hood? Get him here.
I mean, I'm sure Jimmy's.
He's been in worse situations. He's been in madder situations
but
than
I'm
that.
sure he knows a few people with a few hoods.
It wouldn't have been a proper podcast in Northern Ireland if somebody.
Yeah, somebody
Kidnapped you like that. Or do you? Am I your first guest? Because I'm going to do your podcast.
So we've had Vicky McClure and Adrian Dunbar.
That's shit on my parade there.
Yeah, we had
Just
my
your
father-in-law.
Oh, okay.
But his father-in-law is the provost of Fife.
Yeah, ninth fellow of Carnegie College and MBE. But also former colleague of Sir Alex Ferguson at Dunfermline. He was
Okay.
captain of Scotland under 21s, but he broke his leg, much like yourself, which you never mentioned, do you? You know, you seldom mention it.
But I would be available
You
for
would, yeah.
Soccer Aid when that.
Yeah.
Because Kilty used to play. Paddy Kilty
did,
used to
didn't
be
he?
the keeper. So there's no. I don't think there's any Northern Ireland
do
representation
you
on
ever
there
get
now.
described as the new Paddy Kilty?
They use the word keeper very loosely with Paddy, didn't you? Well, I
He has
adore
got
his
paper bags
But yeah,
behind
all the regions need to be represented.
What was he like, chasing a crazed dog? What was a crazed dog chasing a balloon on wet lino?
He's some boy, Paddy, man. He's a funny
It's
boy.
good crack. Married
Yeah.
to
I think he's
Daly.
Big Dermot. Who we got Big Dermot Kennedy? can
Dermot
play.
Kennedy's a player.
No, I think I overstepped the line trying to get him on.
Oh,
I
have
harassed
you
him.
overreached?
I harassed him.
Shane?
Yeah. I was commenting on all posts being like, I met a DM. No, I don't know him. No link to him. I was like, Dermot, love to get you on the podcast when you're over, because he's done a few gigs over here quite a lot, and I didn't get a response. So I started to take that public on Twitter, and I was like, Dermot, you haven't replied to me. What about coming on the podcast and we'll have a Nando's? No reply. So then for about a week, any post he put up, like your wee fanny mate, any post he put up, Dermot, will we get in this Nando's? Because I'll need to book it in advance. And I know you can't book Nando's, but I can. So I was like, Dermot, what do you say? We'll do a podcast. And then he never replied.
See,
so
because if you go that far, he can't. See if he doesn't reply to the first 5. I've been in this. You can't then. You can't then reply. You can't.
You don't think I should
just went too
get
far.
back on it?
No, I'm saying if I
Do you have his
from
number?
Dermot's point of view, you like it's went too far now.
Yeah, right.
Because we done the same thing on ours.
Oh,
Because we're trying to set up this festival and it's been a fucking disaster. And because we kind of get. I thought I got loads of pals who are in bands and musicians. He fucking knows everybody, and I went, so between us, like, this be fine, but not clocking that all of them have got exclusive deals.
Right.
And I was in my house steaming at Thanksgiving, and I was listening, and I love the Cortinas, and I was like.
I like Cortinas too.
Cortina.
I was listening to Cortinas on the way here.
Mate, they're class. And I said to him,
All those flutes and all that.
What?
All those flutes and that track you were playing in the car. Fuck's sake, hurry up, man. Come on.
And I said to him, you got Liam Frey's number. Now, a good mate would have went, wee man, you've been texting me for the last 5 hours streaming. I don't have the number, go to bed. And he went, of course I do, pal.
Right.
There you go.
And you did it.
And I sent him this fucking rambling.
Did you go WhatsApp or text?
I think I went
I love that. Such
text. No, I went text.
It was
Right.
text.
That's good etiquette. Yeah.
Yeah.
As an intro, like.
But then he made the mistake of sending all of those messages to me to see what I thought of them, and I thought that's getting saved for the podcast. That. And
But he did see, because mate, I've
come
had
back.
a good week and a half of fear, but people, because it went on the podcast, people were hounding him online.
Yeah.
Right.
And I started to feel worse and worse about it. And thankfully, man, I was sitting in a heap after we caned it a bit this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
And I was lying in a heap, and I was like, I'm not getting on my phone. I could see all my mates and going, he's home. And I just saw pop up Liam Frey voice note. And I was
How
like,
quickly did you listen?
I know, mate. 3
That's
hours.
horrible,
No,
isn't
3
it?
hours. I phoned my wife to say he's phoned. He's replied. And I was like, I don't know how this is going. Because then I went, right, fuck, he's just going to go, you're a wee dick. Why you put me through this? I don't want anything to do with it. And then I went wildly the other way, going, oh, he's going to do the festival.
Right.
And then it was usual, just being tuned like, oh, mate, thanks for no. Oh, well. But lovely to make it back.
In all fairness, you're being a bit cup half full here, right? Because the fantasy festival that we've booked is sensational.
Aye.
Smashed. We booked Blur to headline it.
Yeah.
Agreed with that.
Where's this
exchange.
going to happen?
At Battery Park, near where he lives.
Right.
We booked Tom Grennan.
Yep, excellent.
None of us remember
Dermot.
that. No, Dermot. It's been actually booked. Did you have any documentation?
Do you have his number?
I know. Well, see, if you want to come to the festival, you'll see him.
Yes. Nando's near
Matthew.
See, I'm fucking Nando's daft. What's happening with the Nando's?
Hold on. Don't mention Nando's in front
Mate,
of me.
I love my
Mate,
chicken wings.
Listen, there's a big issue between me and him on Nando's, isn't there?
No. See, you
let me solve
Kenny
this.
goes. He had the golden ticket. He had a Nando's black card,
Thank you.
which means you could walk in and get anything you want for free.
Yeah.
4 people and drink for free.
Right.
And booze.
So I had a good time with that. And then Martin moved in with me and it went missing.
And do you know how I'd have been at Nando's every day since?
You fucking were.
No,
You were. In fact, but you and Big
I didn't
Tom-
even know those were real.
Yeah,
yeah,
Big
they're
Tom,
real hang.
Big Tom Davis. 'Cause the weird thing is though, I would only use it in places like Dunfermline and like.
I've
really-
heard about the Dunfermline Nando's.
It's
And
good.
see when you walked in, they'd be like, "Guys, come over here, look at this."
yeah,
And I'd be like,
yeah,
"You
yeah.
just fucking put that down with it.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
tell
yeah.
anybody." But then it went missing one night when I was out with him and Warren Brown. And Big Tom Davis, you know, the giant
Oh
comedian
yeah,
fella as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
Big
started talking to Tom on that.
He's going to eat quite a lot of Nando's when he goes in. And I think he probably broke the Nando's bank
Right.
with the amount of chicken
But there
he
was the other
consumed.
thing, but was because right up for the Groucho there was a Nando's, and me and Tom were skint. As you know, the Groucho's fairly pricey, so me and Tom used to go into that Nando's, drink for about 5 hours,
Yeah.
steaming, and then wander down.
Never heard of anyone going for
I
going
know,
for a
we
pint
do
in
that.
Nando's.
It's just him, the Bill Clinton, and the Crankies.
But do you know what's a weird circle of life and a great way to end this pod that just brings everything back together? I just started talking to Tom Davis. We follow each other online, and he's going to do my podcast next time I'm in London.
Yeah.
And guess where we're going to record it?
Nando's.
Nando's. They have a studio in their basement
He's
of
pure
Soho. Is that the
desperate.
Soho
That's the
one?
one. Yeah, that's
Has
the one.
he still got his black card?
Fuck, he's probably got 2. The size of the fucker, like. he's usually eating for 8, like Henry VIII.
He's on a health kick. He'll knock you out.
I guess to catch me first,
just
station.
in
That's
terms
the
of
attitude.
fight, because something you asked us earlier, it's hard for us to catch up, and it is. But at least I know, as the time when we're doing a podcast, we've got me and him.
Yeah.
This would terrify. See, trying to get because we thought we got all these brilliant guests we've gone, but see, just try to pin people down
Yes.
on a day.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that a nightmare?
But that's why it's good that we're fixed here. So we're
Right.
Friday here. So if you know, or we're.
But there's got to be so
But I
many.
thought-
How many people in Belfast? How many people we've been round to
Oh,
come in?
yeah. And just I don't like doing it on Zoom.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's a guest,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. That I just prefer to do face to face.
But I thought the beauty of VPN is that you could do it from anywhere.
And if you were going to have a VPN, why not try NordVPN?
With the neatest pubic hair.
Yep.
This
Yep.
side of
Um,
the shank.
Restless Natives goes out weekly.
Twice weekly now.
Twice
Yeah, we have
weekly,
a
yeah.
bonus episode where we read out correspondence, which is mainly Martin, can you do a best man speech in the voice of Steve Arnott?
Excellent.
Yeah, that's kind of what we get asked for.
Yeah.
But we do one main episode. And we've got some good stuff happening. We want to get you involved in a football related project, which could
You have me a
eventually
football related project.
There you go, football related project that you definitely could play a part in.
Yep.
And we're kind of putting that together at the moment. And then next year, depending on Martin's work, because ultimately, if he starts acting again, Shane, I'm going to be looking for somebody to do it
If
with.
his hearing and eyes, and I'll keep going. He'll be free.
Once we get the big,
Martin slowly.
Yeah, on the decline.
once we eventually strike the big deal with NordVPN.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, we've got a couple of things for next year, and we want to go on tour with it as well. And actually, Ireland and Northern Ireland, we definitely have to come back to Belfast
Oh, aye.
and do the Line of Duty tour. Just turn up randomly.
I'd really wanted to do it. I
That'd
know.
be
Actually, I looked
hilarious.
that up.
Yeah.
Somebody told me it was a Line of Duty tour, and I was like, it'd be fucking funny just to rock up on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I think it's only every other Sunday, so
I've
it's
been
not as
pissed.
popular as I thought as it was.
Imagine that. Turn up and was like asking about Adrian Debar, didn't give a fucking
nobody
look at you.
cared.
Every
Just
other
walk by
Sunday, March to April. It's happening.
But I've been pestering you for ages because the dream was to come over, play a bit of football, have some oat milk based tea with
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Obviously got to get skited with Jimmy Inez, but
Yep.
behave like Alex Higgins.
Go to a water park.
Carry on like George Best,
Yeah.
and then get emptied out of the country
Yeah.
and never invited back.
We'll
But
do it next year.
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to come if you're going to invite us in
Well,
September.
next
the
year this
20th.
comes out
Well, you
in
go to-
January, innit? So next year would be 2024.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
Fucking
One
on.
thing not
Fucking
going.
good.
The mind. Mind.
What he said? Upstairs for thinking, downstairs for dancing.
Come over for the live podcast. That'd be great.
I would love
that.
to.
Oh, can I tell you this? No, do you know what? You know why? You know I'm actually a good guy.
Yeah.
I've got a story. I'm gonna save it for your podcast.
Oh,
Yes!
see
There we
that?
go.
It's
Brilliant.
very good. Not good for me. It'll be good for you.
Shane, thanks for having us. by
Thank
the
you,
way.
No
man.
worries.
Really.
Thank you
It's
for
nice to
that.
sit in the seat. Big Dave sit in this seat
Right there.
because I can feel kind of an
Dave Elliott
indentation of like two buttocks and a large sort of
Boss.
bunch of
Balls.
Boss, aye.
Farmer Giles is what I was going to say.
Do you know what you're feeling? Talent. An aura. An aura. There's an aura. about the
Huge
place.
talent.
Yeah. No, boys, I appreciate you.
Cheers.
Not just coming on, but coming over
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
podcast. I'm looking forward to doing your podcast.
Yeah,
Restless Natives twice a week.
twice a week. Yeah.
You just
Bonus
fuck me by being twice a week because we're
Wednesday,
just weekly.
Friday. But we're not on the Patreon yet, are we?
That's true. You need to
No.
get on.
How's your OnlyFans going, Shane?
Booming. Martin, Gordon, thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for coming
Shane.
on.
Top
Cheers
man.
everybody for watching.
Cheers.
23rd of September, SSE Arena.